Hello guys and welcome to another Ravendawn video. If you guys remember, we defeated the Dragon Raid. It was a blast, super enjoyable fight, and the next target was Blake the Vampire. So in today's video we're gonna be talking exactly about Blake, how to defeat it, the different mechanics, different strategies you can use, and so on. This fight was super enjoyable. My guild and the the Bravo Echo Tango, that's how I call them, but the BET guild help us out. It was super fun. So yeah, let's get right into it.
The further in the fight you get, the more damage a blood pools do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, how many people died?
So before we jump into the whole mechanics and everything, maybe if you are curious about which quest or boss I'm talking about. Well, the quest I am talking about is a quest line that you need to do in the Vampire Zone. So the Vampire Zone being here in the Forsaken Mountains. There's so many quests that you have to do. It's a very long quest line that will end up leaving you inside the Great Pike Castle. Now, specifically, which quest is the one that you're gonna be fighting Blake? Well, it's called Lords of the Blood Part 2. This is the moment where at the end you gotta, it says kill Blake, which is where you fight against him. Now the rewards are great. It gives you you can choose either a Vanguard Medallion, a Agent Medallion, or a Butcher Medallion. The Butcher gives you a increased weapon power by 30, which is crazy at damage, and it also gives you additional 50 damage against stone creatures from the undead family. So this is huge. The other one is the Agent Medallion, which is the one I chose, which I will show you exactly what it does now. And then the Vanguard Medallion that increases your weapon defense by 30, reduce any non-damage overtime damage from creatures from the undead family by 50. And finally, the Agent Medallion transforms you into a bat for 30 seconds and into a bat and increases your spell defense by 28. So it's a crazy fun little medallion to have, because it might not sound like something useful to you, but it is indeed super useful. I mean, look at me, I'm a little bat. It's so much fun. Anyway, so let's get into the fight. So just like last time, like I did with the Dragon Raid, I'm gonna play the raid that we did, and I'm gonna explain to you step by step the mechanics and everything we did, how it works, and the strategies we used. So when you find yourself inside this room, you have to have the quest Lord of the Blood Part 2. Let me show you here a little bit. Sorry, Lord of the Blood's part 2, Kill Blake. Right, you interact with the statue, and then Blake will appear over here where Kiwo is on the back, and you're gonna have to talk with him, right? So let me fast forward a little bit so we can see how I interacted with the statue here. And now the event starts, but you don't fight against Blake until you talk with him. So you gotta make sure you go over him and talk, right? So you go ahead, talk with him. You can say whatever you want, it doesn't really matter. And you basically taunt him a little bit, and then the fight begins, right? So now that the fight is gonna begin, let's talk about the mechanics. So as soon as you finish talking with him, he will go into an attack immediately, but you gotta see that as soon as the fight begins, there is gonna be a bunch of vampires who are gonna spawn, right? My camera is not showing them, but there is one right there. There is a few others on the bottom. I apologize for that, but yeah, you gotta take care of the vampires spawn in first, right? And then you can attack Blake on the at the same time, right? As soon as you clear out the mobs. Now, the important things that you need to notice though is that you have these blood pools that appear on the floor. If you stand on them like I am doing right now, you're gonna get a lot of damage. Now, these blood pools do even more damage over time. Sorry, they do even more damage as the fight lasts longer. So if it takes longer. So if the fight gets prolonged for a very long time, the pools that start spawning all over the place start doing way more damage. So if you can see how I'm standing there and I'm like, oh, oops, right? Like the damage was given to me. Then after that, the mobs, you defeat the mobs, and then you can focus on Blake. I just want to see, they're mentioned, you see these 3 circles. This is basically indicating you that the pool bloods are gonna be spawned, and boom, they spawned in, right? So you want to make sure to avoid them at all costs. In the meantime, you can just completely, full DPS Blake without a single problem. The next mechanic is gonna be that Blake is gonna do exactly this right here. This is crucial, very important, that you need to take a look at. These massive arrows pointing at one of it, of the entire raid, like it will always do one at a time. Blake will basically teleport to the location of that person and one-shot it. Like the guy here, I'm gonna zoom in as much as I can so you guys can see exactly how Tax Dodger, member of my guild, will suffer the unfortunate fate of getting attacked by the one-shot mechanic of Blake, right? So you can see how he is getting that massive arrows pointed at him, and then boom, Blake becomes like this bunch of bats, and he teleports to him, and whoosh, pow, gets one-shotted, 4,625 damage, and becomes a splat of blood. And yeah, that's terrible. Now Blake, when Blake does this, he actually recovers a little bit of his health, so keep that in mind. Now, is there a way to avoid this? Yes, there is one way to avoid this, that being, if you have your party members, you need someone using protection. You need to have protection, and you need to use the safeguard ability on the person who is being targeted by Blake. These will pretty much share the damage between him and you, but saving him, keeping him alive, right? So make sure to, if you want your party members to stay alive, to take protection and grab safeguard. You need to have a handful of people with this, because if you don't, and you only have one person with safeguard, and it just happens that Blake knows that that's the guy and goes after him, you're not gonna be able to do anything about it. So yes, keep that in mind. You gotta make sure that you have safeguard in multiple people if you want to save your teammates from that unfortunate fate that my member had to suffer. The next part of the fight is that you see how everybody started to move towards the south, is because Blake is actually going to the middle here, and the statue comes to life and starts attacking a lot of people at the same time. You can see this guy here on the left side, Granny, is getting attacked. I am getting attacked, and these little dots of damage that we're getting attacked is coming from the statue. So what you need to do is everybody focus on the statue and do as much damage as you can to this statue, so the statue can stop doing this. And you will not be able to destroy a statue. I think it's just part of the whole raid, but you will put it into 1% health. You see how we left it, and then Blake comes out again, and he's like, okay, I'm ready to fight once more. Now, when this happens, though, there is gonna be these bloodbaths that spawn in. You can see how it literally spawns in right after the tower mechanic. So you're gonna see the tower mechanic, the statue mechanic finishes, and boom, the little bloodbaths spawn in, and they normally spawn in from different corners. So we have this one. I believe there's another one on the north, the other side, the other team, the other team is dealing with, right? So you want to make sure that you destroy the bloodbaths, because these will go towards the statue, and trust me, you don't want to find out exactly what happens next if you allow them to get there. Now, the good thing about these little bats is that you can actually body block them, so you can make sure they don't get to the statue. So do that. After that, you can just turn around, focus on Blake once again. Remember to avoid those blood pools. As I mentioned earlier, they become stronger as the fight prolongs, and yet again you can see that we get that one-shot mechanic, and in that to another one of my guild members. They did suffer on this fight, but it was a necessary sacrifice, as we were not aware of how it worked. But yeah, you can see how my guildie actually very cleverly goes ahead and TPs to the north as soon as Blake spawns there, trying to avoid him. And either way, he just disappears. 5,366 damage. it's definitely very tough to see them go that way. But remember, use that safeguard to be able to deal with Blake's one-shot mechanic. And yeah, I think that is it with all his mechanics. Apart from that, you know, he does a lot of damage if you stand next to him. So try to, you know, you see how the bloodbath just spawned there actually goes towards the statue. But I think we ignored it. No, we actually did switch and try to destroy it. But yeah, Blake is pretty much done here, and boom, we got it. And that's how you defeat Blake. It's a lot of fun. I think you can do this fight with 5-6 people. We just came in and overdid it with the amount of people we brought, but we always do that. It's fun doing these kind of things with everybody instead of just a handful. You know, it's super fun. Anyway, I hope you guys found this very useful. But as I said earlier, I can actually talk about the red account that is right above this place. So as soon as you kill Blake, you're gonna have another quest after you talk with Peter, right? Peter being over here, he will give you the rewards when you talk with him. So make sure you choose wisely. I, in fact, messed up when I was doing the rewards. I have here my clip where I get very mad. So here, let me show. I was walking back to meet with Peter to get my reward, and I did the mistake of just spamming instead of reading, and I always click the green option every single time, and I didn't realize that talking with Peter in this moment was the moment that you get the reward, and boom, there it is, the reward, and I became a shapeshifter. I will say I can shapeshift into a bat. So I don't regret it. It's a fun little thing. But if you want the other options, I believe the other options are here. Let me show you. The red answer being the butcher that gives you that 30 weapon power. The green answer being the, well, shapeshifting amulet that gets you into a bat. And finally, the yellow being the vanguard that gives you that 30 weapon defense. So yeah, keep that in mind so you can actually pick what you want and not make my mistake, right? Anyhow, moving on, let's just talk quickly about the red count. The red count is the next mission from Lords of the Blood Part 3. Sorry, Part 2. The next is Part 3, and you pretty much you talk with Brother Wayland, and he gives you the mission. It gives you a couple of steps that are very easy, but then he sends you back into the castle where, sorry, we helped him, sorry. Here, I'm gonna show you the path we actually took. You gotta go, that's the room where you fought against Blake, but if you go to the south and then to the left, you can go up to the roof. There in the roof, you get to fight against the red count. Now, there is a few little like puzzles that you have to solve. They're fairly easy, very, very easy, and a lot of fun to answer them. They will give you a little. It will give you a little clue when you talk with a pillar. It will leave you a little clue that says, "I'm green as grow, but brown as I decay. A mushy treasure nobody likes, but what color am I when I ripe?" Right? And then you can, select the color on the lights here on the left that you believe is the answer, right? You got a handful of options, so it's not really hard to try again and again and again until you get it right. It was yellow, and so I believe it was yellow. So yeah, we put the yellow, the door open, we move on to the next stage, and so on and so on and so on. So again, there is the puzzles. You just talk with it. He says, "I hit to orange, but begin as brown. What color am I after I have burned down?" That is pretty much talking about like coal, I guess. I hit in orange, but I begin as brown. What color am I after I burn down? Maybe black, right? So that's wood. So yeah, we actually put black there, and boom, the answer is correct, and we move on and we move on. Anyway, you will be doing that for a while. They're super fun little puzzles. You will go all the way to the top, and then you got yourself fighting against what's the name? Against the red count. There we go. She spawns in, and we the fight begins, right? This is why I didn't want to really talk much about the red count because I didn't really understood her mechanics a lot. We pretty much DPS her down as fast as I could. Sorry, as fast as we could. But at the end, she kinda stayed alive. It was very strange. She transforms into a vampire. Sorry, a bat. But that's it, right? Like, I think that we interrupted her mechanic somehow. You will see here in a moment when we were fighting her. She tries to do something, but we are not really sure. But as you can see, we just like basically DPS check her all the time, and that's it. You see this here in this moment. I think there was a mechanic, but suddenly like it didn't happen. But I haven't gone back to this fight, so I'm not sure. Maybe the next time I take my guildies to do the fight, we can I can make a proper video about the red count. But yeah, we pretty much we just walk her around, kite her around. As you can see, she does really a lot of damage, but you can just kite her down with a lot of CC. You can, pin her to one side, and we had to just continue walking around for a little bit, and then I think the sunlight comes in or something and kills her. I don't remember already, but yeah, she stays like that for quite a few seconds, and that's it. Here, the fight should be over here any moment now. And there we go. You see these little like lights start. Yeah, you see that's like a sunlight. So I think you have to make her walk into the sunlight, and you kill her, right? And that was it. So yes, well, with that said, the fight was super enjoyable. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys did as well when you give it a go. I am Tonte Torres, and I pray and hope that you found this video useful, and I will see you in the next one. So don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Take care, and goodbye.